Yo, what's up guys? Wukong here, doing my Danganronpa, the animation episode 2 review. This episode is really solidifying this series for me and really solidifying my captivation with this series. I knew from before this even came out, when I read the description, that I was going to love this, but these first couple episodes are really just drawing me in and keeping me interested. I really love this episode. Something I want to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but from the stylization and just all the little choices that are being made, you can really see Seiji Kishi and his directorial style shining through in this. For those of you that don't know who Seiji Kishi is, he's directed a lot of other anime, but in particular he's really good at doing these adaptations of video games. Particularly working on two really great Atlas titles, which turned into two really great anime. Persona 4 the animation, one of my favorite anime. That's by far my favorite video game adapted anime. And Devil Survivor 2 the animation, which was pretty good animation wise and stylistically, and just the choices that were made for that were beautiful. So I can see a lot of Seiji Kishi style reflected in this, just from the aesthetics, the tabs popping up and whatnot, just stuff like that. Like you get these little tabs of when they're doing investigation and such, little clues and whatnot will pop up in tab 4. There'll be little tabs that come across the screen telling you what event is taking place and stuff like that. Just stuff like that, just those aesthetics choices. Seed choices, and having just the way everything's set up, you can really see Seiji Kishi's directorial style shining through. So I just wanted to mention that. Before I actually get into recapping this and talking about what I liked and didn't like, I want to say straight out the gate that this is not going to be spoiler free. So if you don't want anything about this episode to be spoiled, you're just going to have to stop watching this video, or skip ahead or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out, but probably just stop watching this video because it's not going to be spoiler free. If you don't want spoilers, I'm sorry. I can't review this without giving away some stuff. So we finally get some deaths in this episode, and I was loving it. I was loving everything that was going down. The first person to die, and this surprised me because I really thought she was going to be a mainstay of the series, but Maizuno Sayaka dies straight out the gate, beginning of this episode, and shit is starting to pop off. Basically what happens is she decides to switch rooms with Naegi-kun because she's feeling scared and whatnot, and Naegi, feeding for that pussy, he's just like, alright, I'll switch rooms with you, you'll be safe here, blah blah blah. There's a lot of mystery and stuff concerning her death, just in general from the show point of view, but also from us as spectators, because we see the scene of her when at nighttime when everybody's asleep and she's in Naigi's room, and she's just kind of sitting at the desk all broody and strange looking, kind of just, I don't even know, just out there. Just makes it something about that suspect, maybe me personally kind of thinking that maybe she took her own life or something. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't necessarily seem like that, because when Naegi comes in to check on her, because they all decide that they'll eat breakfast with each other every morning and such, and she's the only one not to show up. So Naegi goes to his room to try and check on her, and he sees the room is all in tatters, there was some kind of struggle, and finds her dead in the bathroom. So one thing I want to talk about really quickly is with her death, we see the blood style. The blood is pink in this, and from what I've read about this and whatnot, it seems as though they're paying high homage to the stylistic choices of the game, because in the video game the blood is pink also. I think that was really to tone down, the gruesomeness of certain things, because me personally, I'm thinking also that red, just traditional red blood, would have just made this so much more real, and really hyped it, just made it tighter in my perspective. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, and I had a bit of a problem with that. I wish the blood was just red straight up, but I can respect this because I like the fact that they're paying homage to the stylistic choices of the game. whether the game did that just as a straight up stylistic choice or because they want to tone some things down, you know, keep it a bit more soft and everything. But it's whatever. I can get behind it, and I'm moving on from that because I don't really mind it, and it's kind of cool actually. Like, once you get past the fact that it dulls down the realism, you're just like, this is a Danganronpa thing, you know, and it just gives it its own flair and flavor and shit. So that, I just wanted to address that. I'm not really feeling it either. The blood and shit should just be red. It would be much more real. It would go so much harder, but whatever. Can't have everything. So then Sayaka's dead. Maizo no Sayaka's dead. And basically Monokuma, now what we get with this episode is the delineation of the class trials. Monokuma summons everybody to the gym after her death, and is like, explains exactly what happens at the conditions of graduating. So basically the murderer, after a period of time, the murderer, if they're not discovered and found out by the rest of the group, then a class trial will be held. And at these trials, you know, there'll be back and forth with people delineating who they suspect the murderer to be. And if the one side is right and they pick the murderer out, the murderer is then executed, and that's done with. If they're wrong and they don't find the correct murderer, everyone else that's not the murderer is executed, which is fucking crazy. It's so real. Monokuma is devious, yo, but everybody that's not the murderer is executed, and the murderer gets to graduate and is ushered out of this place. So we get that there, and at the end of the episode, the class trial is about to begin. So for next week, it's about to go down. I want to see the class trial really badly. It's looking tight. That's pretty much what happened in this episode. You know, it was a really good episode. Just to not spoil the other person that dies, you know, so I don't like fully spoil anything. I mean, I guess there's no way to avoid telling you that Mizuno has died, because it happens at the beginning of the episode. It's the driving force of this whole episode. But somebody whose name I won't mention decides to challenge Monokuma when he's talking about the class trials and whatnot, and they're like, I'm not doing this, fuck this, blah blah blah, and actually commits an act of violence against Monokuma. And if you remember in the first episode, Monokuma was like, anybody that like acts violently towards the principal will be punished, and that happened the first episode. He like did a little self-destruct thing to like give them just a warning and everything. So this person like tries to violate him, and the dude just takes them out, done. So we get 2 deaths in this. That death was really brutal, and that's another instance where the red blood honestly probably would have done it better, but whatever. I really like this episode. Some other things I want to talk about besides Kishi and Seiji Kishi's style being readily apparent, especially with the tabs and everything. What I really want to talk about is the OP now. The OP, we get some lyrics on it now, and the lyrics are great. I'm really liking the OP now, just as opposed to how I was first feeling about it. They're sung by Alice from Japan. Don't really know too much about her, but she seems pretty good, and the lyrics, I'm really feeling the lyrics. So yeah, I'm liking the OP. It's really cool also, because I'm still really liking the countdown thing at the end of the episode. We see it drop from 15 to 13, signifying the 2 deaths. And in that little spread with the characters, those individuals that die get grayed out. And then the ED changes, I guess, and fluctuates episode to episode. So if you remember the old EP, I guess in the old ED, there was a shot of all the characters. It shows just the characters with Naegi-kun that have died so far, and the little 8-bit character avatars that are like scrolling on the credits, they X that out as well. That for me, again, is really like Seiji Kishi-esque when I'm thinking about things like Devil the Survivor to the animation. Because if you remember, if you've seen that show, at the ending for that show, the EDs would have like a stream of characters, and a character that would die would be just disappear from that stream, and they wouldn't be there. So that just reminded me of that. Also, one thing, if any of you have played Persona 4 Arena, Ultimate in Mayanaka Arena, which acts as a sequel to both Persona 3 and Persona 4, but it's a fighting game made by Arc System Works. Came out last summer. I really love that game. But if any of you have played it and you played the story mode, you know that Kuma, or Teddy from P4, has this kind of like this. I'm not gonna spoil anything about that game or that story because it's actually a pretty decent story. But Kuma in that just really reminiscent to me of Monokuma here. Just seeing him on the monitor and everything and seeing that, so it was also really cool in that regard. But I'm really loving Monokuma's character right now. Brings like a little bit of comedy to the thing, you know. Still loving the character designs, character models, the diversity between the characters. You're definitely getting a little bit more character depth and character development with each episode, just a splash here and there for each person, and it's really cool to see. And I'm glad that they can find the time to do that, especially with so many characters. I'm sure it'll get easier as more people get taken out. But yeah, the animation is beautiful. The stylistic choices are beautiful as always. And anything else I need to go through? No, I don't really think so. For this episode, just getting into the mysteries now, getting into the class trial, seeing some murders take place, you know, just everything like that. The dialogue and everything was good, and the BGMs are still awesome. I'm loving these remix video game tracks. You got that video game 8-bit sound to some of the tracks, and it's just beautiful. So overall, I'm really loving the show right now. This episode, I would have to give it a 4 out of 5. I believe I gave last week's episode a 4 out of 5 as well. And I think that's the correct score. Like, nothing too great, but it was just a really good episode still. It wasn't just average. It was a good episode. So check it out. 4 out of 5 for Danganronpa episode 2. And I can't wait for next week's episode with the class trial and everything. It should be fucking beast. Shit is going to continue to go down. And I think the episodes are just going to get better and better as we go on. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Check out Danganronpa, the animation, if you have not seen it. And I'm out. Peace.